Gabby. Welcome to my channel, Frog with a Blog. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. I'm so glad that you're here. Today's video will go over going to Disney World with my 2-month-old daughter. We went in the summer of 2024 to Florida, and if you know Florida, you know it was hot. But stay tuned and I'll give you all the tips, tricks, and just what I learned on my trip with my 2-month-old. My videos are aimed at families traveling with or without their kids, just giving some insight on what my trips and vacations have been, so that way hopefully you can take something from it on your next vacation with your family. So, starting with, why did I take a trip with a 2-month-old daughter? I needed to get out of the house. I had a lot of postpartum anxiety, postpartum depression, so staying in the house definitely did not add to that. I'm a Leo. I love being out of the house, especially in the summertime. Summertime is, to me, the best season. I live in Texas, so we get summer all year long pretty much. So I needed to get out of the house nonetheless, and it was really last minute. My mom, gratefully, was staying with us after I had my daughter, and it was so last minute. She was just like, hey, let's take a trip. I'm like, okay, sure, whatever, lady. Where should we go? And she recommended Disney World, and I was like, hey, that'll be wonderful. Obviously, that was like a late at night. I'm tired. I don't even know what day of the week it is. I don't know what time it is. But okay, sure, let's go. So we ended up going only a few days. We went long enough to have our travel day. We had our first full day at Magic Kingdom. We spent the next day at Hollywood Studios. We did a relaxed day, so we stayed at the hotel, went to the pool, and then we had our travel morning back home. So it was a really quick trip. We did have a 2-month-old. I was 2 months postpartum, so I didn't want to push it too much, but it was really, really good. So that's why we decided to go. Again, I know it was a 2-month-old. You go anywhere on Reddit or anywhere else, everybody's like, no, never take a child. But I want to travel with my daughter, so we did. So for who went, it was myself, my mom, and my 2-month-old daughter. My husband, unfortunately, wasn't able to go with us because it was super last minute and he had to go to work. So it was just us, and we did fly American Airlines, so we've flown them before, so we're pretty comfortable with what to expect. So what we took her diaper bag. In her diaper bag, I packed, and this is anytime, no matter the situation, so this was no different. For her diaper bag, I packed 10 diapers, a pack of wipes, 3 outfits, 2 onesies, 1 footie. I packed some socks, some bows because they're essential. I packed some burp cloths, my nursing cover, some teething toys, and I also put some high contrast books in her diaper bag for the flight, just so that way I had something to distract her with if she happened to be awake. So that was her diaper bag. I did take 1 rolling suitcase. My family, we typically try to pack as light as possible. Just, my mom used to work customer service for an airline, so I got all the horror stories of your bags are going to get lost every time you travel, and it's going to take forever to get your bags at the carousel. So if I can avoid it and it's not a long trip, I try not to have to check a bag. So I didn't on this trip. So in my roller bag, I packed changes of clothes for each day, and I packed 2 extra outfits for myself just in case. I packed a few of my postpartum essentials. I packed, obviously, plenty of clothes for her. I packed enough for 3 changes of clothes per day for her, 10 to 12 diapers per day. I packed an empty bag to take with us, so that way I can pack my souvenirs. I know myself well enough at this point to know that I'm gonna buy a lot of stuff wherever I go, especially going with my 2-month-old daughter. That means I gotta buy all the merchandise for her. She's 2 months, she doesn't know, but I know. So yeah, I took an empty bag so that way I could obviously have it full whenever we come back. And so that way I could pack any of the things that we were going to put on her stroller. It was easy to put away whenever we were getting on the buses. Since the trip was so last minute, I didn't have a lot of time to do research on Disney World. I think I had only gone a few times when I was super young. I didn't hardly remember anything. So I didn't get a lot of time to do a lot of research on what to pack, what to take, how transportation works, and, you know, the whole 9 yards that goes along with Disney World. But I did know, take an empty bag. For me, I knew at a minimum it would be for my souvenirs, but it actually was really good. So that way we could put our goodies that we were taking in our stroller in the bag whenever we were getting on the buses to and from the parks. So glad I took it. My mom, she took pretty much the same, a bag for her, obviously our toiletries, things of that nature. So didn't pack too much. Again, we were only there a few days, so didn't need to take everything, although I probably would have if I drove. For big pieces of equipment, I took her stroller. I took her car seat. She was 2 months old. I didn't pay for her seat by herself, so I took a baby carrier and I carried her in front of me, which was really good for the airport and especially being on the plane. It worked out really well. So I recommend that if your baby is a sleeper, especially they're that young, they're usually sleeping most of the time, hopefully for you. So that was super good that I took that. She was a little clingy, which is fine. I loved it. I loved all the baby snuggles I could get. So I knew she didn't want to be in the car seat too long. Most of the time she wanted to be carried, and I didn't mind carrying her. She didn't weigh that much. So I took the baby carrier with us as well. I got the car seat and the stroller bags from Amazon. So that way, whenever I checked those, they didn't get damaged. I read that you can rent car seats and strollers from different third-party companies, or even at the parks at Disney World. I didn't go that route just because, again, we were only there for a few days. It was so last minute. I didn't want to have to add to my stress of, oh my gosh, let me try to do all of this keyboard research, you know, a day before our trip, since it was thought of 2 days before we actually flew out. So I just took what I had and hoped for the best. I did put some ribbon around the stroller and car seat handles, just so that way, one, I did here as well. You want to make your stroller identifiable because there's strollers everywhere, which there were. So I got some pink polka dotted ribbon and then like some rhinestones. I love pink, I love rhinestones. So I was like, of course I have that laying around the house, so let me just decorate my stuff. So that was our big heavy pieces of equipment that we took. Which wasn't overwhelming for me getting in and out of the plane, or we did take an Uber from my home to the airport, so it wasn't too overwhelming. Also adding in that I had a 2-month-old that I'm trying to take care of, and she's my first child, never done this before, especially never flying with her before. So that's what we took. We flew through DFW Airport, so if you've ever been there, you know it's huge. I happen to love how big it is just because it gives me a lot of options of what to do while I'm there. My mom and I, we pack light. We get to the airport hours ahead of our flight. We are huge planners, so this trip was such a surprise, so different than what we usually would have done on a vacation. Usually it is planned out to a T. We're getting to the airport at 7:19. We got 2 minutes to walk up the stairs. Like, it is planned out. So we didn't have as much planning, but we knew generally we're getting on a plane, we're going to the hotel, we're going to the parks, we're coming back home. So, and we're pretty intuitive, so we figured it out. But we did take an Uber to DFW. We got to our destination in the airport, our gate, 2 hours before the flight took off. We did have to go through Terminal C, which, again, if you know DFW Airport, Terminal C is a mess. It just takes so long, especially if you're in like the in-between gates. So I don't know, I would say gates like 15 through 20. it's going to take forever to get through that terminal. So if you can, either go to like a lower number or the highest number. So like gate 1 or whatever the highest number is of the gate, because those are usually less busy. That's what we did. It was good, except for the fact that since I was traveling with an infant and I got the ticket so last minute, I had to go to the customer service, like the big, huge, I don't know what, 5, 6 desk American Airlines customer service desks that everybody else was at. So that was in the middle of C terminal. So we had to walk all the way down, wait in the long line to talk to customer service to get her added on. TSA was super easy. We went and found our gate. Like I said, it was at this point 2 hours before our flight. So we had plenty of time to do whatever. I did try to time out her naps. She was 2 months old, so she napped pretty much all day long anyways. So it wasn't that much work from there. But I did have her in her stroller, car seat combo. I got some food while we were there. I did check out their nursing rooms. DFW does have nursing rooms. It was really convenient, really nice. You will have to check their website to see which gate they're at per terminal. So I did like walk around a little bit and try to see a few of them. I think I looked at 2 of them. They were really nice. It wasn't huge, so you won't be able to take a huge family into the nursing room, but it was big enough that it had a rocking chair. It had outlets, so if you had pumps or you needed to charge something, you could do that in there. It had long tables, countertop space. It had a space that you can change the baby on like a changing table. The first one that I went in, it didn't have any supplies, so I didn't know that it was supposed to have supplies. But the second room that I went in had like diapers of all sizes. It had wipes, so it was pretty cool. I was like, wow, that's so nice if you're, a parent traveling and things happen. You forgot a diaper or whatever happened to your diapers and you just need a diaper on the go. So that was super nice. At the time I was still nursing, so I used the room to change her diaper, nurse her before our flight. And then getting on the flight, that was so easy. They did give me the tags that you put onto like your luggage. They gave me 2, one for the stroller and one for the car seat. So at that point in time, I put her in her carrier that was strapped to me. And then I got help with breaking down her stroller, putting it in the bag, and I left it at the end of the tarmac area before you get onto the plane, because they just walk it down, I guess. And then I also did the same thing with her stroller. Put the stroller in the bag, put the labels on both of those, and left it there so that way they could put it below the plane. Super easy, no problem at all. Getting on the plane was easy, found my seat pretty easily. And we were off on our way to Florida with 2 days notice. I did have her a pair of baby headphones, so for the flight I did put those on her the entire flight, just because I read some things about the plane being super loud. So I did put those on her for the entire flight. Now that I think of it, I did not feed her when we were taking off and landing. She was sleeping the entire time, except for the few minutes that I changed her diaper in the bathroom. So, I mean, she can still hear now that she's almost a year old, so I don't think I messed her up. But everywhere that you look, I feel it always says to feed them as taking off and landing. I didn't do that. I had her headphones on, so whoops. The plane ride itself was good. She slept the entire time, which was wonderful. I did wake her up when we were pretty close. I believe we were maybe an hour out, because I knew that about 30-ish minutes before the plane, arrives, that they put on the "you can't get up" sign. So I figured, let me change her diaper before, just to make sure that she's going to be okay. She's not going to be screaming while, there's so many other people in a hurry trying to get somewhere, and it's like, oh my god, I have a 2-month-old baby, please watch out. So I took her to the bathroom in the on the plane. It was small. If you've been on a plane, you know the bathroom on a plane is super tiny. But to my surprise, there was a makeshift changing table behind the toilet seat. So you're sitting, when you go in, you have the toilet seat. You look to your left or right, depending on which side you're on, and there's a little small sink area. But behind the toilet, as you're standing up, there'll be a little latch thing that you can pull down. And it makes like a decent changing table. If your baby is bigger than 2 months, I don't know how you're going to do it because it's pretty small. But for her, it was fine. So that was great. Got to change her in there. She wasn't hungry, so I didn't feed her, and I didn't want to take up the lavatory for too long. So I just figured I'd wait till we got to the destination, and then I would feed her, which I did. Landing was perfectly fine. Like I said, she went back to sleep as soon as I got to my seat, so it was a dream flying with her. So hopefully if you have a really relaxed baby, if you want to fly, that's the time to do it, because people, as they were getting out of their chairs to get their luggage overhead, they were like, we didn't even realize there was a baby around us. That was wonderful. And I'm like, oh, thank you. So when we got off the plane, we went down to the, I don't know, the like Uber area of MCO, so the Orlando airport. I did go to the restroom, changed her again, fed her. We got an Uber to the hotel. We were staying at the Disney Springs area, the Holiday Inn. We got a 2-bed room, so 2 queen beds in a room, a bathroom. We also had a balcony. I think I just went online and saw what was cheapest in the area that had shuttles to the parks. In hindsight, so for our trip that we have coming up, I did a lot more research. We will be staying at a resort, but for the purposes of the trip, staying at Holiday Inn in Disney Springs is really good. We did get in pretty late, so it was probably like midnight or 1 in the morning by the time we got in. So it was really late at night, and we pretty much just went up to the room, looked at everything, was like, all right, looks good, knocked out. All right, that about does it for this video. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for part 2 of our trip to Disney World. Thanks, y'all.